The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back with you with today's episode of The Simple Truth. And I want to talk to you today about this new law that was just enacted just a few days ago, practically a week ago. Many people are probably familiar with it, but maybe don't know the true details or the facts behind this new law. The new law is the initials for it are called the NDAA, and that stands for the National Defense Authorization Act. What I want to, before I get into reading what's all about, this article that I found, I just want to share with you the simple truth of the fact that many people out there are unaware of the things that are happening right under our nose. They are so caught up in their day-to-day. They're caught up in going to work every day, taking care of paying bills, and they're caught up with so many things that it's almost like it's a distraction to keep us away from knowing the truth about what's really going on out there and the things that can affect us. So I'm going to read this article and then I'll share some more thoughts. Now, this comes from the Courthouse News Service, and it's dated Wednesday, January the 4th, 2002. And it says, human rights groups and civil libertarians are skeptical of White House assurances that President Obama's signing of the National Defense Authorization Act will not lead to the indefinite detention of U.S. citizens. Now, did you hear what it said? The indefinite detention of U.S. citizens. The National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, of 2012 writes a $662 billion check to the Pentagon in a 500-plus page document that grants the executive branch the power to indefinitely detain any person it accuses of being a terrorist without charge or trial. Without charge or trial. Make sure you make note of that. President Obama signed the bill on New Year's Eve. Isn't it funny how when everyone is out and having a good time, about to bring in the new year, getting inebriated, just doing all kind of crazy and wild things, that something like this is happening right under our noses. Now it says during congressional debate, Senator Carl Levin, a Democrat from Michigan, who co-sponsored the bill, said the Obama administration instructed him to keep U.S. citizens subject to the detention statutes. In a signing statement on December 31st, Obama claimed to oppose these provisions and express serious reservations about indefinite detention without trial. Obama claimed to oppose these provisions and expressed serious reservations about indefinite detention without trial, an authority he vowed not to enforce on U.S. citizens. The fact that I support this bill as a whole does not mean that I agree with everything in it, said President Obama in his signing statement. In particular, I have signed this bill despite having serious reservations with certain provisions that regulate the detention, interrogation, and prosecution of suspected terrorists. However, I want to clarify that my administration will not authorize the indefinite military detention without trial of American citizens. Indeed, I believe that doing so would break with our most important traditions and values as a nation. Ladies and gentlemen, I know many people out there trust the word of our government. But how many times have the words of our government come back to be not so true? Do you remember no new taxes and then taxes were raised? Ladies and gentlemen, we need to wake up. We need to pay more attention of what's going on around us and quit being so worried about what star is doing what, who they're married to, how long are they staying married, what the housewives are doing, what the basketball or the baseball wives are doing. We need to pay attention to what is going on in our real world. Not the reality of other people's world, but actually our real world. But let me finish this. It said Amnesty International ridiculed his comments, talking about President Obama, stating that "trust me" does not mitigate the law's dangerous expansion of executive power. Once any government has the authority to hold people indefinitely, the risk is that it can be almost impossible to rein in such power. President Obama has failed to take the one action, a veto. See, all he had to do is put the veto stamp on it that would have blocked the dangerous provisions in the NDAA. Amnesty said in a statement. In so doing, he has allowed human rights to be further undermined and given Al-Qaeda a propaganda victory. In a telephone interview, a senior authority at the Center for Constitutional Rights said, told Courthouse News that the NDAA will keep Guantanamo detainees already cleared for release behind bars by forcing the Secretary of Defense to ensure that someone who is released cannot hurt the U.S. at any time in the future. You can see how that is a metaphysical impossibility, said Wells Dixon. I guess that's the representative for the Center for Constitutional Rights, who represents Guantanamo detainees. An Obama administration ordered report by the Guantanamo Review Task Force found that 89 of the 171 foreign citizens held in Guantanamo have been cleared unanimously by the initials, listen to this, by the CIA, the FBI, the NSC, and the Defense Department, according to the Center for Constitutional Rights. Now it said, unlike the Bush administration, Dixon said, the Obama White House will not disclose whether his clients have been deemed safe for release. That information was routinely available to the public under Bush, said Dixon, who also said that the names of those cleared previously were published on the Department of Defense website. Not a single prisoner has been released since January 7th of 2011, Dixon said. On that date, Obama signed that year's defense appropriations bill with a similar statement vowing to oppose provisions preventing detainee transfers. Okay, here we are. Now, we're looking at 2011. The defense appropriation bill was signed, and in a signing statement, the president vowed to oppose the provisions therein. We just heard that when he signed the National Defense Authorization Act just a few days ago, he also opposed those provisions that were deemed hurtful to the American public, indefinitely detaining American citizens without any type of trial. He opposed it. But as you can see, a year before, he opposed provisions, but yet nothing has been done. It says here, he has retreated on every issue related to Guantanamo, Dixon said. I don't think that he has the courage of his convictions. Even if Obama keeps his word, the non-binding signing statement has no effect on future presidents. He's not going to be president forever, Dixon said. The signing statement is not a substitute for modification or repeal of these terrible provisions. On Tuesday, the Occupy Wall Street movement protested the NDAA in demonstrations starting at noon in front of the main branch of the New York Public Library. Activists held tombstone-shaped signs marked Bill of Rights killed in the line of duty. And here lies due process. During a press conference, camouflage-suited activists staged mock military abductions, draping black hoods over their colleagues' heads and dragging them away from the entrance of the library. Although the display drew giggles, the speaker said that the scenario was not a joke. Mark Taylor of the National Lawyers Guild said that U.S. soldiers had become a common sight at nearby Grand Central Station, where protesters gathered later in the day. Where protesters gathered later in the day. He said they were there to normalize the military presence rather than protect the public. National Guard Bureau Chief Air Force General Craig McKinley joined the Joint Chiefs of Staff the day the NDAA was signed for the first time in the Guard's history, according to the military.com website and other reports. One speaker at the Occupy press conference, James Owens of the New York Committee to Stop FBI Repression, cited statistics illustrating the danger of indefinitely detaining suspects. What does it mean to be a suspect? Owens asked. Citing ACLU statistics, Owens said hundreds of people accused of terrorism have had charges dropped in recent years. In 2007, another ACLU report, No Real Threat, revealed that tens of thousands of activists were included in a Pentagon database. Taylor, the National Lawyers Guild attorney, urged people to defend their endangered rights. This is a time we desperately need to stand up for those rights, or we will lose them, Taylor said. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to really and truly absorb this simple truth and take to heart. Go out there on the internet. Take a look at the NDAA, the National Defense, oh man, I'm getting that incorrect. Hold on, let me make sure I said the National Defense Authorization Act. Got it right. But make sure that we're paying attention to what's going on. And make sure that you are staying informed. Keep your mind in the game. Don't let the entertainment of this world, don't let the things that are going on that you feel are more important cause you to be asleep at the wheel. Because as it stands right now, it's almost as though we are asleep at the wheel and we are allowing a drunk driver to drive us, and we feel comfortable with it. Do you feel comfortable with what has just been stated there? Go out, do your due diligence, do your research, find out about this, and do whatever you can to show your support for the U.S. citizens that could possibly be detained without any reason. It could be you. It could be someone you know. But the most important thing is to be aware of what's going on. Take some time to stay vested in the real world and quit allowing that tell a vision to tell you what's going on and learn for yourself. Because as the prophet Hosea said, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Don't lack in knowledge, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you do what is necessary. This has been the simple truth. And remember, as I always say, the simple things are the most profound, but oftentimes they're the most difficult to accept.